Potter for Joseph Parker vs Anthony Joshua Day of Destiny Facebook page, November the 26th, 2017. What I want to talk about is the Joseph Parker vs Anthony Joshua fight upcoming, hopefully. A fight that I myself class as a destiny fight, hence the Facebook page. To me, the reason I say it is a destiny fight is because these are two fighters that find a way to win. Look at Joshua's career. Some say he was lucky to win the Olympic gold. So he found a way. He was in trouble against White with a body shot and a headshot that had him looking in severe trouble, but he found a way. He was in trouble against Klitschko, looking like he might be gone. Hit again and sat down on his backside. But, as per usual, he found a way. Now that's Joshua. Those are his 3 tests, and he's passed them all. Then we look at JP, and he's in a similar vein. He's had 3 tests. All decisions, all 12 rounders, and like Joshua, he has found a way. He's come through with a result, not in no small part, in my opinion, to actually his ability to take orders and listen to his corner. Now the fight against DUCO was a step-up fight. I think it was his 15th fight. And he won it. He could have been made to look a fool in that fight, but he actually got through to DUCO. And people say, why did DUCO stop attacking? Well, I think that basically is because every time he came in, he got hit. So he found a way. He did the right moves. He had the tools. He beat DUCO. Next up was for the vacant title against the WBO. For the WBO against Andy Ruiz Jr., a very, very underrated fighter in my opinion, and very disappointing that he's not still fighting. You know, just because you have a resume that's not littered with names, it doesn't actually mean you can't fight. And, you know, similar to Butterbean, the fighter that I'm sure we all know, he has that kind of power of Butterbean. It doesn't matter about your body shape if you've got that core power, in which he definitely has got, and some amazing speed, to be honest. And, you know, Joseph Parker, once again, for the second time when he was under pressure, found a way. So, 2-0. And then he fought Harry Fury in a battle that, or a fight that I have named the Battle of Dunkirk, because it's a fight that somehow someone that lost is claiming a victory, and claiming a great victory, when at the end of the day you got beat. In my opinion, badly beaten. I think the judges' scorecards were correct. And as soon as I heard that second score of 118-110, I knew there was no way in the hell that Harry Fury had won that fight by that kind of margin, so I knew JP had it. So, as I said at the start, Joshua, he's found a way. 3 times when he's been under big pressure, he's got it done. JP, 3 times under big pressure, got it done. And hence the reason I call it a destiny fight, because 2 guys that'll find a way, well, one of them is going to lose his way. And it's looking to me like this is in the next fight. And I know we're all hoping it's going to happen. And I know New Zealand fans are confident that Joseph Parker will win. A lot of them will be apprehensive, or have been sucked into the hype. That happens with stars. People get promoted the hell out of them. They have a few big tools in the toolbox and people start believing. So that's the New Zealand fans. I know the English fans, all of them, virtually none of them rate Parker. No surprises there, because they don't actually rate anybody apart from their own fighters, as a rule. And, you know, Joshua is easy to hype, and he does, I admit, he does improve every fight, I think. You know, the DUCO, it's such a shame for him in the DUCO fight that he was robbed of actually getting the knockout by some just another case of an early stoppage, unnecessary. Not to saying that he actually would have won that fight. He still could have lost that fight, going on Takam's tactics of trying to fight in the last 3 rounds. But as I said in another video, as soon as Takam actually tried his strategy of attacking in those last 3 rounds, he got hit straight away. And he could have got knocked out in that flurry if the ref hadn't stepped in. But he was still a chance in that fight, from my opinion. But Joshua got it done, as I said at the start. So they're both getting it done. So now we need this fight to get done. So it's up to the promoters, and they're wangling at the moment over the percentages. And I've always thought like 2 belts to 1, 65-35, should be the number around that area. And Joseph Parker's team, some TV rights in the Asian part of the world, Oceania. Then you're looking at it, and DUCO have backed Hearn into AJ into the corner a wee bit, and saying, almost forcing them into having to have the fight, because they look really quite weak, in my opinion, if they don't take the fight. So, yeah, we're moving on, and it's getting to the point now where they're getting to the nitty-gritty, in my opinion, of what will need to happen, and to get the fight happening. And what I see is DUCO don't have a lot of bargaining power, really. All the cards in terms of bargaining are in Anthony Joshua's court. But the one thing that I think is in Joseph Parker's favour, and the one bargaining chip that they do actually have, and it's a part of the sport that disturbs me, actually, because to win a world title now, it seems like you've actually got to win twice. You've got to beat the guy twice. And what I'm referring to is the rematch clause. Now, this rematch clause aggravates me, like I said. But in this fight, to me, it's turned out that it is that DUCO's one bargaining chip. And I'll go into why I say this is, I don't think, if you look at it, say if Anthony Joshua wins, then there is no, I don't think there is a rematch. Because who wants to see, in terms of English, where the money's been made, the English people aren't going to want to see a second fight, unless it was a real barn burner type fight, I don't think there will be a rematch, and I don't think Hearn would allow a rematch for Joseph Parker to be negotiated. On the other side of the coin is that Hearn will, because he has to, because it makes sense, business sense, just what was done, he will try to negotiate a rematch clause for Joshua should he lose. So, upshot, no rematch for Parker if he loses, rematch for AJ if he loses. Now that to me is the one bargaining chip that DUCO has, and that chip to me should be worth 3 to 5% of that purse. So if DUCO can get the number to 30, maybe 70-30, and then use that as their bargaining chip to get it to 33. But as I said, to get it to 33, they've got to give away the rematch. So yeah, it's all interesting one. It's all up in the air. It's something not many people have really talked about. And to me, it's just about the main interest point of the whole negotiations, and no one's even talked about it. So I'm not sure about the media of boxing, to be honest. Just how intelligent they really are. But will be interesting to see the final numbers. Hopefully there will be more talk about the rematch clauses coming up as we go on with the negotiations, and all things going well, hopefully this fight will be made by Christmas, and we'll all be know there'll be a fight in March. Venues dependent, looks like the O2 has been talked about, which is really small. I think the big stadium where the other Wembley is out of action, because Tottenham Hotspur is using it. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but as I said, Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua, Day of Destiny. It's a destiny fight in my opinion. Hopefully the first fight of 3 fights. I myself was really disappointed that Joseph Parker didn't actually stay as the IBF mandatory and actually fight Joshua, because when I made this page about 2 years ago, back in 2015, everything was on track for a 3-fight trilogy in my opinion, given that I think in terms of all the boxers in the world at the moment, heavyweights, the 2 that are actually most likely to beat Joshua are actually the other 2 champions, because they've both got tools. Speed. Wilder's got the angles and all the funny things that he does that, you know, he's going to land. I'd say all guys are going to land on each other. In terms of these guys, 3 fights fighting each other, they're all going to land. So, you know, who's going to take the shots the best? And, you know, now after the Wilder destruction of Stavern and Spilker as well, my respect for Wilder has gone through the roof. Now, just because, you know, you don't have the most fantastic resume, as I said earlier with Ruiz, just because you don't have the most fantastic resume doesn't mean that you haven't got what it takes. So, you know, see through all the bullshit and, you know, just watch what the guys do and their tools and then assess. And that's what I've done with all 3 champions, and I've established, you know, that on any given day, any of them are going to beat each other. You know, so that's where I see where it's at. Interesting what happens, you know, I mean, and it's actually, if Parker can get this negotiation through, you know, it's really puts the other champion on the back foot, because if we do have the Parker win and the rematch, then Wilder doesn't get a shot for at least another year. So, but the same thing would happen if Wilder gets in with his negotiations. This doesn't work out for Parker. When does Parker get his shot? You know, so this is a timing thing as well for DUCO. So maybe another bargaining chip there for Eddie Hearn to use, playing Wilder and Parker off against each other. It's all fascinating, but, you know, AJ has come out and said, get me Parker. I want Parker. So, you know, if this does not happen, it's really just not good for the fans, not good for the boxing. And, you know, we've had enough jokes in boxing. It's just, we've waited a long time for some fights, and picked quite a few this year. Finally, after a couple of years, where virtually nothing happened. You know, it was months in between any action. So, we're very close. To me, the rematch clause is very, very important. Don't think JP will get one. I think AJ will negotiate one. And let's get it on!